Good evening, welcome to ITV News Meridian.
Tonight's headlines in the south. 4 children are rushed to hospital from their Dorset school over fears they'd taken cocaine they thought was sweets.
We'll jump out the car for a second, please.
Caught red-handed, the drivers using their mobile phones at the wheel. How thousands are still ignoring the dangers.
Between your shoulder and right here.
Yeah, well, sounds free though, isn't it?
Paying the price, the investment scams robbing people of their life savings.
The heartache it causes and the stress and the strain on families, is just unbearable.
And Anfield, here we come. It's Southampton versus Liverpool in the match that could take the Saints to Wembley. Good evening. It's been revealed 4 school children were taken to hospital after it was feared they may have taken cocaine, which they thought was sweets.
Emergency services were called to Broadstone Middle School in Poole following reports children had taken a white powder.
Well, a man has been arrested on suspicion of drug offences. From Poole, Sam Holder sends this report.
Well, this is a concerning incident here at Broadstone Middle School, but thankfully all the children are fine. There were 4 of them, aged from just 9 to 13 years old, and they believed the white powder was some sort of sweet, possibly a sherbet. Police tests have confirmed it was cocaine. School staff thought the children had taken some of the Class A drug, so called the emergency services. Paramedics came and checked on the children and took them to Poole General Hospital, but staff there found no evidence of any harm to the children, and police now think that they didn't actually ingest any of the drug. This all happened on January the 3rd, but has only been reported today, and an investigation is now underway. A 32-year-old man from Bournemouth has been arrested for drug offences. Naturally, parents are very upset at the news. Nobody expects a child of that age to come across something so dangerous while in school. And we asked the head teacher for an interview, but they didn't want to speak on camera, but said they'd written to all parents to tell them about the incident and explain that this was just an isolated event.
Sam Holder reporting there. In other news tonight, a father of 4 originally from Southampton has been shot dead in Thailand. Tony Kenway, seen here with his wife, was killed in the driver's seat of his car outside a sports club in the resort of Pattaya. The Foreign Office has confirmed it is in contact with local police.
2 men have been charged after a young man was killed in a crash in Hampshire a year ago. Luke Fletcher, who was 19, was a passenger in a car which crashed on the B2177 at Southwick. 22-year-old Zach Ross Harris from Poolsgrove has been charged with causing death by dangerous driving and driving without a licence or insurance. 25-year-old Danny Ross Barringer from Poolsgrove has been charged with dangerous driving and other motoring offences. They're both due to appear in court next month.
Flights to and from Southampton Airport were affected again this morning by heavy fog. Flights to Edinburgh, Glasgow, Leeds and Amsterdam were all cancelled. Since Monday, around 250 flights have been cancelled at Heathrow.
Almost 75% of trains on Southern were late yesterday. On the first day, the company said it would operate a normal service after months of strikes. Official figures show just 26% of trains on the Brighton Main Line were on time. The figures are worse than the previous day when conductors were striking. Then 40% of trains were on time. Holding your mobile phone behind the wheel should be as socially unacceptable as drink driving. That's the hope of police forces in the south who are taking part in a national crackdown this week.
Well, in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight last year, more than 3,000 drivers were issued with fixed penalties by police.
And in Dorset, more than 750 drivers were prosecuted for holding their phone at the wheel.
And that's despite a number of tragic incidents where drivers have been distracted by their phone. Kerry Swain has our report.
I'm in an unmarked police car in pursuit of a driver spotted using a mobile phone. Unmarked motorbikes are also being used in this crackdown. The man admits taking a call while at the wheel, but thinks he was safe.
I wasn't holding the phone, though. I wasn't holding the phone.
No, between your shoulder and
Like
right
that.
ear.
Yeah, well, it's hands-free though, isn't it? Isn't it? Hands-free. I'm not actually holding the phone.
The offence is using a mobile phone whilst driving.
Enforcement and education is the purpose of this campaign. Drivers are still using their mobiles despite horrific fatal accidents. A lorry driver on his phone caused a pile-up on the M271 motorway near Southampton, killing 2 men. Another truck driver killed a mother and 3 children on the A34 near Newbury. The judge said he was so distracted he might as well have had his eyes shut. While I was out with Dorset police, they caught 15 people in just 2 hours in one small area of Bournemouth.
Stopped you because I noticed you drove along, you had your mobile phone in your hand.
What was the purpose of the call? We'll keep persevering and hopefully one day we'll get to the same level of sort of unsocial acceptance as we are with drink drivers and things now.
You don't have to make a call to break the law. Just holding your phone and looking at it is illegal, even if you're in a traffic jam or stopped at traffic lights. The current penalty for using your mobile phone while driving is a £100 fine and 3 points on your licence. But from March the 1st, that will double to £200 and 6 points, which means that anyone who's been driving for 2 years or less will automatically lose their licence and have to retake their test.
You were at the junction, wait to come out, and you had your phone in your hand. Yeah.
We're still catching people on a daily basis, still using their phones. Phone usage has changed considerably. It's not just a case of people answering the phone now. There's texting, social media, emailing.
I mean, I didn't mean to do it. It's just a phone call comes through and automatically. It's just an instant pick phone, isn't it?
You think you might do things differently now?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've been told I'm wrong, haven't I?
Mobile phone use was a contributory factor in 22 fatal accidents in this country in 2015. The message from Dorset Police is simple: there's no excuse. Kerry Swain, ITV News.
Organisers of the Shoreham Air Show have confirmed that it will not take place this summer. 2 years ago, 11 people were killed when a Hawker Hunter jet crashed. Yesterday, the Civil Aviation Authority accepted all the recommendations suggested by the Air Accident Investigation Bureau, designed to make shows safer for pilots and for spectators.
The husband of a woman jailed in Iran says he hasn't been able to speak to her since she lost her appeal. Richard Ratcliffe from Fleet says he has no idea how his wife Nazanin is. She was visiting her parents in Iran with their 2-year-old daughter when she was detained. On Sunday, her sentence of 5 years was upheld by an Iranian court. She denies breaking any laws.
I think now she's with other women. You know, there's a cell of women who've been through a similar experience. So they're there to sort of talk through and hold her through, so it keeps her stronger. But yeah, I mean, 5 years in Evin prison is a long thing to be looking at. So, I mean, she's not in a great place. We've got to think about what we do with Gabriella. We've got to think about what's best for the family in lots of ways. So, yeah, there's some thinking to do.
A community centre in Dorset, which closed without warning last week, is to be reopened by the council. The charity-run Barrington Centre in Ferndown shut its doors last Friday amid financial problems. It left a local drama group without a theatre and residents without community workshops, meeting rooms and a soft play area for toddlers. East Dorset District Council, which owns the building, says it will reopen once the charity has formally ended its lease.
Staying in Ferndown, and the town is one of 4 places in the south to lose its local branch of HSBC. The bank says it's down to the growth of mobile and internet banking. Totton, Cosham and Hazelmere will also see branches closed this year.
You're watching ITV News in the Meridian region. Thank you, as always, for choosing us. We do appreciate it. Coming up.
The oldest trophy in international sport, but what does the future hold for the America's Cup?
For more on all our stories, head to itv.com/Meridian. Any views or any news, call us 0808 1010 095, or you can get in touch via Facebook, or if you prefer it, you can always send us a tweet at ITV Meridian.
There's been a rise in the number of people who've been conned out of their savings by scams or rogue investments.
Well, here's just some of the most common in the UK at the moment. They're calls from someone claiming to be from a government department talking about reclaiming your bank charges.
Phishing, where scammers phone you and tell you they are from your bank and get you to hand over your account details.
Get rich quick schemes, deceptive prize draws and sweepstakes.
Pension liberation scams that claim you can get your money out before you are 55.
And investment scams. If you're contacted about an investment opportunity, check it out on the Financial Conduct Authority's warning list.
Well, our reporter Helena Carter has been speaking to some of those who've been caught out by investment fraud. They want to warn others to make sure they're careful about the decisions they make with their money.
The heartache it causes and the stress and the strain on families, is just unbearable.
Losing the money was bad, but it was the betrayal of someone just really making out they were your friend when they weren't actually your friend at all. They were just then there to help themselves to your life savings.
Lives ruined by risking everything in scam investments. Alan invested his entire pension pot, persuaded by his financial advisor at the time to buy into a false venture.
What did I lose? Oh, I lost a marriage of 30 years. I lost a 3-bedroom bungalow that we had to sell because we'd moved apart. And you lose everything, and you lose trust in people as well.
There are an increasing number of cases involving life savings being lost after making risky investments.
There's evidence that people have become susceptible to scams. A lot of that is, of course, driven by the fact that we're almost in a zero interest environment, and of course people are actively looking to make their savings work harder for them without realising that they may be exposing themselves to unnecessary risk.
In the UK, fraud has gone up by 300% in the last 12 months, with around £1.2 billion of investment money being lost to scams each year. Nearly 70% of victims feel betrayed.
I'd known the person concerned for 14 years before they actually decide to help themselves to my money. He portrayed himself as a friend and a friend of my family, which was even worse. You feel violated, I suppose that's the word, and I blame myself for being fooled, to be honest, because I was well fooled by them. But you never think that someone you've known that amount of time. It's the trust that is the worst thing.
Not every incident involves deliberate attempts to defraud. Poor investment advice is also an issue.
The concern for us is that this is an underreported problem. For feelings of guilt or embarrassment or for whatever reason, many people do not come forward. They do not report to either the regulator or the police, or even confide in family or friends.
And for anyone tempted to invest,
if something looks too good to be true, it likely will be. High rates of anticipated return come with high risk. Do not put all your financial eggs into one basket. Think about what you're prepared to lose.
For some, they've already lost everything. This advice key to making sure more people don't make a decision they'll regret for the rest of their lives. Helena Carter, ITV News.
In other news, a life jacket, which was probably used by a survivor of the Titanic, has gone on display at the Sea City Museum in Southampton. It's thought it could have been thrown from the liner Carpathia, which went to help victims of the disaster.
All the debris, including deck chairs and broken lifeboats and whatever, were taken to a big warehouse in New York, and from there it was all meant to be destroyed. Some of the people who worked in the warehouse helped themselves to a few souvenirs, and this life jacket, as far as we know, is one of those.
On to sport now, and it's a massive night for Southampton Football Club. They're at Liverpool for the second leg of their EFL Cup semi-final, with the winners heading to Wembley. David Chisnell sent us the latest from Anfield.
Well, it's a bitterly chilly night here at Anfield, but Southampton will be fully fired up for this, the second leg of their EFL Cup semi-final against Liverpool. They go into the game with a slender 1-0 lead. It's an advantage that could and should be greater. Will they rue not scoring 2, 3 or 4 goals from the first leg 2 weeks ago? A place in the final at Wembley awaits if they can hold on to that lead and upset the home side here. It is a big occasion for the club, and the manager knows it's going to be a tough challenge for its players.
We will have a good team and a strong team to defend this result, but not just to defend this result, to attack also and to play a strong game like the first leg. It will be difficult, of course. Liverpool will be a favourite, but it's a football. All is possible.
Well, it's also set to be a huge night for young defender Jack Stevens. He's in line to start in defence for Southampton and replace their key man Virgil van Dijk. He is set to miss out with an ankle injury. He had to come off in the game at the weekend with that. It would only be the 5th start for the England under-21 international for Southampton this season. Their manager, though, says he has faith and confidence in him. Well, Jack and the rest of his teammates will have to be at their best if they're to stop Liverpool. They did it in the first leg. If they can do it again tonight in the second leg, then they will take this club to their first League Cup final since 1979.
Well, Brighton are back at the top of the Championship after a 1-0 win over Cardiff City. They're now 2 points clear of Newcastle, with Reading leading the chasing pack. Ian McBride has the best of last night's action.
David Stockdale was the Albion's first half hero as he kept the Bluebirds at bay. Missing top scorer Glenn Murray, the striking duties fell to Toma Hemed, and initially he was frustrated. David Knockhart's "How did you miss from there?" gesture saying it all. But the Israeli international made amends with 17 minutes to go. A superb instinctive turn and strike for his 22nd goal in Brighton colours. Brighton and Hove Albion 1, Cardiff City 0. The Royals game with Fulham was a tale of 2 penalties. John Swift was initially denied by David Button, but Roy Behrens was quickest with a follow-up. Fulham looked to have a lifeline in the final minute. Up stepped Chris Martin to be defied by Ali Al-Habsi. And so the Royals climbed to 3rd in the table. Reading 1, Fulham 0.
Rugby and the Six Nations Championship gets underway in less than a fortnight. England's men completed the Grand Slam last year, captained by former Sussex schoolboy Dylan Hartley.
While England's women will be hoping to get one over the reigning champions France in their opening match this morning, the launch of this year's championship. Our reporter Kevin Ashford was there.
I cannot believe he spent the whole match on the bench.
Are you ever going to get off the bench?
Selco, sponsoring ITV Meridian Sports Report.
Well, it's that time of year again for rugby fans. The build-up to the 2017 Six Nations Championship well and truly got underway today, with all the coaches and captains of all the teams, both men and women, being made available for interview ahead of the tournament, which begins early next month. Now, one of the talking points of the day was a rather spectacular injury to the England men's coach, Eddie Jones. He said he suffered it after a fall during training with his players. We'll hear from him in just a moment. But first, the England captain, Dylan Hartley. A lot's been said and written about the Sussex player, about his injury and disciplinary record. But today he was keen to focus on the England team. They're currently out warm weather training in Portugal, lucky people. Their first game will be against France.
It's going to be a huge challenge for us. Like I said, the challenge at the moment this week is getting back on the same page together. A lot of preparation to be done, put ourselves in the best possible position to perform well against France.
They're a highly respected team for us. They've got great individual players and they're well coached by Noves. So, first up, it's a great challenge for us.
Well, both the men and women's Six Nations Championship are seeing a change this season. For the first time, the organisers are introducing, for a trial basis, a bonus points system. And for the women's game, for the first time, all 15 matches will be available to view live, either on television or online, an indication of the increased profile of the women's game. Well, there's not long to wait now until the action starts. The Six Nations Championship will kick off the first weekend in February.
Kevin Ashford reporting there. Now, should Sir Ben Ainslie win the America's Cup this summer, Portsmouth would host the next event in 2019. Today in London, Ainslie and the other skippers confirmed the Cup will now be held every 2 years, that it will continue to be raced in the foiling catamarans, and that costs will be kept down to encourage more teams.
It's a really exciting, pivotal moment, I think, in the America's Cup now, to have a platform to move forward to say the next event will be in 2019 hopefully in Portsmouth. And then after that in 2021, it's really what the America's Cup has been looking for in its 166-year history, is being able to set up the continuity, the sustainable platform to build this sporting event which does have this huge, incredible history.
I'm sure he's going to do it. Now, over the last 10 years, there's been a real rise in microbreweries. The demand for cask ale and craft beer is on the up, and creating your own brewing business is helped by a tax break if you don't brew over a certain amount.
And of course, there's been some real success stories in our region. The Hog's Back Brewery near Farnham in Surrey was started by one man in his garage and now supplies supermarkets and pubs across the region.
And another local example is the Dancing Man in Southampton. The brewery is an old wool house. Head brewer Aidan says he started the business so people could experience an exciting and different type of beer when they came to Hampshire.
We're really interested in modern progressive beers, so we use all sorts of ingredients from chipotle smoked chilies to chocolate to New World hops, all manner of different fruits. Yeah, so we've experimented with lots of different things. I think there's a never-ending sort of range of beers that is attracting people to keep coming back.
Now, so popular is this industry that the number of independent breweries has almost doubled in the last 5 years, as Tim Scott has been finding out.
Another beer festival, and one of many that is sure to be packed out this year. Events like this are fuelled by the rise in independent breweries, which have nearly doubled across the UK in the last 6 years. And it's people like Matt Holmes that are making it happen.
Everybody from day one, every brew I made, was happy with it, and they wanted me to make more. So that was the only excuse I really needed.
Matt's been brewing beer in his garage for 6 years. He's currently knocking out 1,200 pints worth a week.
Average Joe has been putting up with very poor beer for quite a long time. So when they're faced with a much more flavoursome product, they want more of it.
UK pubs may be closing at the rate of 21 per week, but it seems we can't get enough of craft ale. And just down the road from Matt, this small brewery is doing great business as well. They've even got a bar upstairs, selling the stuff they make downstairs.
People want to try different beers, and there's more breweries now that are willing to experiment a lot more and give different tastes and flavours. I mean, people call it craft, but it's like you go to your shop, you want, shall we say, decent food. But people want greater choice and quality because people are paying more money for it, and why shouldn't they get quality?
So with a craft beer revolution on our doorsteps, it seems there's never been a better time to make the stuff or drink it or both. Tim Scott, ITV News.
Any excuse, isn't it?
Exactly, any excuse. Good to see it back.
Now there is talk of maybe snow on the way. Let's have a look at the weather then with Lucy Verasamy.
From blizzards to pool, driving through Europe. Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
Hello to you again. A very good evening. Well, a bitterly cold end to the day as temperatures fall. And no surprises to learn, I'm sure, that it's going to stay freezing and frosty as the working week rolls on. That huge area of high pressure we've had for a good week or more now is going to be gradually repositioning itself in the next day or so, and in the coming 24 hours as this southerly airstream becomes increasingly established, we'll draw in even colder air from the near continent, so temperatures will be even lower than what we've seen of late. Those temperatures already falling away as I speak. It's going to turn frosty as the evening wears on. Quite widely we'll see those temperatures below freezing point and maybe as low as -3 or -4 in rural spots as the night progresses. So a sharp frost for some of us into the small hours. A bit more of a breeze compared to recent nights, so any notable mist and fog should be kept at bay. But into tomorrow morning, a freezing, frosty start. The trade-off will be clearer, brighter conditions compared to this morning. Some lovely sparkly winter sunshine as that early cloud is nibbled away. But temperatures are set to struggle. Bitterly cold and barely above freezing. Just a very stingy 2 or 3 degrees at best. And if you factor in that biting southeasterly breeze from the near continent, something of a wind chill, making it feel even colder, especially with the lack of sunshine and with the cloud cover. It'll feel really quite raw out there for some of us throughout the day. Into the latter stages of the week, we keep the cold air with patchy overnight frosts, but at least we lose the wind chill. I'll see you again soon. Have a good night. Keep warm.
Eurotunnel the Shuttle sponsors ITV Meridian weather.
-4, that is bitter. Do take care out there tonight. Now, in just a moment, the ITV Evening News tonight with Mary Nightingale.
Stacey will have our late news just after 10:30. For now, though, from the team here at ITV Meridian, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.